Okay, today we're just doing a quick lesson on standard deviation. We've done mean, median, mode, and range, and today we're going to look at something new. The standard deviation it's kind of like range. It tells you how spread out the data is, but it's a little bit more specific and it gives us a little bit better results than just range by itself. So for example, if I said that something has a mean, and for the symbol we use for mean, it looks like a little U. It's a Greek letter for mu. We're going to use that for mean. Remember, on your calculator, though, it gives you X with a line over it. So let's suppose it says our average was 70%. And then let's suppose our standard deviation, and the symbol we use for that is another Greek letter. It looks like a sideways B. And let's suppose that was 5%. So what that means is our average is 70. So in terms of our graph, most of our data would be at 70, and then it means that the majority of our data is within 5% above and below. So that means we have from 65 to 75 would be where most of our data is. Okay, so it sort of tells you how spread out it is or how close it is. So if you have a really small standard deviation, that means most of the data is really close together. If you have a really big standard deviation, that means it's spread out a lot. So if you had, suppose we had data that had just one group way over here and one group way over here, this would be a very large standard deviation number. Okay, if we had a graph that just had one chunk of data in the middle and nothing else, that would be a very small or even zero standard deviation. Okay, so that's what it means, and it just sort of tells you the spread outness of it. So it's a good number to sort of tell you how close the data is. In order to actually calculate the standard deviation, it's a pretty complicated formula, and the good news is we don't have to calculate it by hand. All you have to do is just like you do on your calculator when you go to your stat, enter all your list 1 and list 2 data that like we normally did for mean, median, and mode. Do your one variable calculations. And on your list, it's the fifth one down on your list. Remember, the top one was our mean, and then there's a couple other ones, and about a fifth one down on the list is the standard deviation. So in order to calculate the standard deviation, just plug your numbers on the calculator, go to one variable stats, calculate it, hit enter, it'll give you the standard deviation. And that's all. So when you do your calculations, plug them in, it'll give you the mean and standard deviation. So remember, the top one, the X with the line over it, is our mean, and the one about fifth down or so is standard deviation. And that's it for this video.